Good evening, ladies and gentlebeans. We are back for round 5 of Division 5 in the League of Europe. And I am Killer Blue 295 taking you through it as always. And as always, I am joined by QBR Packer. I was worried I wasn't going to have you with me this week, but you've made it. And a delight is to have you here as always. Packer, how are you?
Once again, doing quite fantastic. A decent race for Division 1, by my standards at least, and we're coming into Division 5 Monaco, most prestigious circuit on the calendar in Formula 1, at least that's what the people like to say, but also one of the most difficult on the calendar as well, so excited in anticipation for this one, I guess I would put it that way.
Absolutely. We saw quite a lot of wings fly in Division 1, so that's it to go by. I'm sure we're going to have a little bit of carnage and madness this evening in Division 5. While we wait for the cars to come out on track in qualifying, let's run you through the standings after Austria last week. NL Energetics leads the championship with 78 points, but last week his first race without a podium finish. 22 points back is Slumpcon in the Haas. He took victory last week at Austria. Then we've got ERS Major on 44 points. Ghost Recon is on 42. Jav is in 36 for Aston Martin. His teammate just behind on 24. Harry F. Alpine's on 23. Jamie Met and Marcy are tied on 20 points. Ben Scott's on 16. Alex Liart is on 15. Bowers is on 15. He made his debut last week. And according to Jav, it's a hot favourite for victory today. Just Gamer on 13. Reardon is on 10. Also on 10 is Joseph in the Ferrari. Neither of those last two will be with us today, and nor will Ben Scott or Alex Lilliart. So let's turn to the action on track. Let's bring up that track map and see who's first out on track. And indeed, it looks like it is the Alpha Tauri of ERS Major, one of the quicker drivers, I think we'd say, Packer, in Division 5. He wasn't with us last week, but the two races he started, he's got a win with fastest lap and a second place. So you'd be remiss to count this man out of shot for pole. And I'm going to interrupt myself because we've got a spinner at turn 1. I think that is Baba O'Reilly 3.
Yeah, not the greatest way to start his, I'm guessing that's going to be his first session here. No, we haven't seen him previously out on track this season at least. But yeah, ERS Major, 2 races out of 4, and he's still second in the championship. So if he can keep his attendance, third in the championship now, second last week. Pole position in Portugal, his last race as well. Took the win there, broke the pole position curse, as we alluded to in last week's stream. But he's just crossing the line to start the first flying lap here in Monaco.
And he's already chucked that car into turn 1. The back end didn't want to stick with it, flew itself out in complaint, but he just about managed to hold on to it. Now we go through Massenet, never-ending corner. You've got to flick it in now into the right of Casino Square. A lot of understeer. He had to really slow down to hook that car around. Backs off, and I think ERS Major might have already abandoned this lap. That was very gentle through Mirabeau, and now the slowest corner on the calendar, the hairpin, or the Grand Hotel hairpin as it's also known. Then Beau Rivage and Portier come up next, and then you've got the nice little curve, not Beau Rivage, Mirabeau, sorry, I always had Beau Rivage, and he has well and truly backed off there. And we'll jump to the Alfa Romeos behind you. We've got Bowers and Bellon on laps. Bellon, I think, has gone invalid, and indeed hits the wall here at the Nouvelle Chicane, and Bowers also looks like he's not going too quickly here, but he's going to need his teammate to jump out of the way if he's going to have any hope of getting a quick lap in. And in fact, I think Bellon has completely impeded his teammate's lap here. Impeded and then some. I think that's quite the most preposterous case of impeding I've ever seen. And in fact, Bowers is just going to follow Bellon through here. This is interesting tactics, I think we'll say, from the Alfa Romeo team as they go side by side across the line. Bowers finishes lap with an 11.8, and in fact Bellon smashes into his teammate, nearly wipes him out of the qualifying session there and then. What on earth was going on there, Packer?
Well, Bowers.
Oh, and Energetics has crashed. Ooh. Sorry, Energetics finishes his lap. It's an 11.4 on the mediums, and then goes straight on Max Verstappen style into the barriers at Saint-Devote. And he might have messed up a couple of people's laps there, but we'll see. Sorry, Packer.
Well, yeah, Bowers was on a lap. Looked pretty tidy through the middle sector split, but obviously his teammate just either not aware or just not entirely paying attention. Either way, Bowers P5, I'm sure he's going to be quite angry about that one, but they're going to have to solve it out later on after this session, I would imagine, in the steward's room possibly. But yeah, now just looking at 2 other laps. There's a yellow flag in the first and middle sector area. I think that's just energetics getting out of the way for people.
I'm on board with Major, who I think had gone for another lap, and Bellon is doing the same here. He's just completely blocking the AlphaTauri, who was weaving his way down the straight to say, come on, let me through. And in the end, Major has to back off. I think Major was on another lap there. We've got Ricky, and Serial Killer on laps. And Serial Killer has a big slide coming out second part swim pool. That will put a pay to any hopes of a quick lap from him. So, we've got 10 times on the board right now. Only a handful of those are representative. We've got a 10.8 from They Hate Melty, a debutant last week in LOE. Ocon Corrupt in second. Just a tenth of a second behind that. Energetics on the medium tyres. We'll have a look at what tyres people are running. Only man so far to put competitive lap time on those, but of course with his missing front wing. Marcy and Bowers on 11.7s and 11.8s, just 6,000 between those. But you have to wonder what Bowers' lap could have been without that impeding from Bellon. And then the 2 McLarens, and I'd have to say, after Serial Killer, the 2 McLarens perhaps, Baba, O'Reilly, Ibo, Major, not really quick laps from those guys. And then we've got a plethora, 9 drivers without laps on the board, and we still have 12 minutes to go.
Yeah, just watching aboard with SlimCon right now. Last week's race winner, second in the championship, behind Energetics right now. Ibo getting nicely out of the way through the Grand Hotel Hairpin as we begin that middle sector. Now heading just out of Portier, a little bit of a slide there from SlimCon as we head through the infamous tunnel here at Monaco and down the hill toward the Nouvelle chicane. Be careful not to hit the wall on the inside, but also careful not to cut the chicane there on that right-hander. And now into Tabac as we head through the middle sector. Split 43.490 for the Haas. Ooh, that's pretty deep into swimming pool 2 and into the wall as well as we head up toward Rascas. Not the tightest of laps into the wall again for SlimCon. Doesn't look like he's having the greatest of times of it, but also on those medium tires.
Quite a scruffy lap though. They just seem to fall away from him more and more as the lap went on. His Nouvelle chicane looked very tidy, but Sector 3 was not quite up to scratch. Got a few drivers coming out on track for their second laps now. Let's see who we've got. We've got Harry F is on a lap. 18.6 in Sector 1, respectable. Only a couple of corners to navigate in Sector 1, but Massenet and Casino, very tricky to put together. And he hooks up the swimming pool nicely. Just Anthony knows hairpin and Rascas to go. And then Harry F is going to get a time on the board. One of the 6 without one so far, and this is going to be a decent lap. 11.1 from Harry F. He put himself within a few tenths of a second, within touching distance of They Hate Melty, who's currently on provisional pole. We've not spoken yet, Pack, about where we thought pole might end up. I was expecting to see pole maybe around a mid to low 10, given the field spread we might see at Monaco. There could be a couple of Monaco specialists hidden within the field here. I don't know where you were expecting pole to shape out.
I don't really know. I was expecting, maybe mid to low 10s once we get to the end of the session. They Hate Melty, though, currently on a mid 8, 0.845, just starting in his second lap in the session with 10 minutes and 30 seconds left to go. Oh, yes, low to mid 10. Obviously, you're going to have a lot of potential here in Monaco. Practice, you're going to be full out, full pushing, full pace and everything like that. But once you hit the real thing, only a few goes at that final lap time. So you're going to be a little bit more cautious, and people are not going to get to their full potential.
Well, I'm just on board with ERS Major here, who's gone out on the mediums after that aborted lap, if indeed it was an aborted lap, behind Bellon, and looks like he's having a very tidy time of it. He hooked up the swim pool chicane nicely, just the last complex of corners to go. We've got a yellow flag, that's for his teammate in the tunnel getting out of Alfa Romeo's way, and just a very short dash to the line now, the only DRS zone on the track for Major, and he goes pole on the medium by 0.02 of a second, and we've got an Alfa Romeo round at Nouvelle chicane. That is Bowers. Had a bit of a spin there. He might have clipped the barrier on the exit, and this was on his fast lap, so he's going to have to abort that one. So his second lap was ruined by his teammate. His first lap was ruined by his teammate. His second lap is going to be ruined by his own mistake. And Jess Game nearly, I think, might have been impeded a little bit herself there. She was coming through to finish her second lap. We've got another yellow flag. That's for Mercedes going slow at Nouvelle Chicane. Jess comes across the line now, improves to a 13.0. Might have been held up a little bit by Bowers there, but a very good time for her. And finally, with half of the session gone and half to go, we have got mostly a full timing job. We've got 16 drivers with times on the board now. Yellow flags, glorious drivers, get out of the way. Just Jav, Axel, Bellon and MCFC to go. And Packers, anyone in that field you feel is very out of place right now? We've mentioned Bowers. Anyone else you feel can jump up there? Axel goes straight into P6 as I say that.
I'm just looking at it. Well, I think they hate Melty. He showed a little bit of pace last week in Austria, but Racecraft wasn't exactly there. But currently in P2, I think he's on another lap right now, just heading out of Portier and through the tunnel. I can't exactly tell, but I think he is on a second flying lap. Didn't quite improve on his first flying lap on these tires. Must have backed off as through the Nouvelle Chicane he invalidates in that Ferrari. So not going to be improving on this one. Akan Corrupt just heading through the final sector, but he was down through the first two out of the final corner. Let's see what it is across the line with DRS. Open fastest actually for Akan Corrupt. Found a lot of time in that final sector, so must have been a mistake there earlier.
Very nice lap from Akan Corrupt indeed, and that makes it an Alpha Tauri front row. And I'm just on board with Energetics, who was going very slowly through the middle sector. If he'd overcooked the tyres or was trying to save some ERS, I'm not too sure, but our championship leader was having a very slow time of it. Who else is on the lap towards the back? We've got Bauer O'Reilly in his D5 debut just coming through, and he is invalid, so there'll be no improvement there, but it's not going to be an amazingly quick time anyway. A 15.8 for him. So let's jump on board Energetic, starting his flying lap now. Got I was going to say throw it into Sandoval, but doesn't. Keeps it very tight. He clips the wall on the exit though. That hopefully hasn't given him any wing damage. And now through Massenet and Casino, you want to take this is one sweeping motion, nicely done down in third, straight back up into fourth for best traction, and then through Mirabeau. 0.3 per second more, nearly 0.4 per second up through the first sector. Now through that horribly tight hairpin, Babo rides front, and that's going to be very distracting for Energetics. Indeed, he understeers a little bit through Portier there. And is the Ferrari going to get out of his way? And he does, but could have got out, you have to say, a little bit quicker. I think you've got to be more aware. Jolyon Palmer says you have to be aware on a street circuit. I don't know if Babo O'Reilly was quite as alert as he could have been there. Nicely done through the Nouvelle Chicane for Energetics. Bit of a squirm on traction on the exit. Flick into Tabac. Don't crash there. It's easy to clip the barriers on the outside. Nicely with the curbs through swim pool 1, swim pool 2. Doesn't cut it as much as he could have done, but it says he's purple through sector 2. And takes a very tight line into Anti-Nose. Just the last couple of corners to go now. Nice and straight. Save to the right hand side for the shortest run to the line. And where's Energetics going to put this? And he puts it pole. A 10.5 for Energetics. Quarter of a second faster than anybody else on the track.
Yeah, Energetics showing up in qualifying finally. I think he had 10 places in a row in qualifying the last 2 weeks and being on the medium tires, but now putting it on provisional pole by a good 2.5 tenths. Yeah, that's really what I needed heading into round number 5 here at Monaco. It's going to be, well, the most valuable pole position you can have really here in Monaco, and having it, well, at this time of the season, I think could really, well, just energize, if you may will, going into the mid part of this. Very, not necessarily long calendar, but 17 races is still quite the distance.
I see what you did there. I see what you did there, Packer. Man of natural humour as Slumpcon crosses the line, and he blows Energetics out of the water with a 10.1. Our top two in the championship, they're top two on the grid, albeit in not quite the order they are in the championship. Got a couple of yellow flags, that's for Red Bulls going slow in sector 3, just getting out of the way there, but that's a big lap from Slumpcon. Where does he sit in the championship? He sits 22 points behind Energetics, so were they to finish in that order, that he would cut that gap to 15 ahead of Silverstone next week. But of all tracks to talk about prematurely, Monaco, at least in league racing, it's never wise to count your proverbial chickens before they proverbially hatch. Let's jump to one of the Alpines. We've got Harry F is coming into the pits. We've got, what else have we got around the back there? We've got Riccia just finishing a lap. I don't think he's on a quick lap though. In fact, he's not on a quick lap at all. We've got Ibo has crashed at swimming pool 2 and is minus a front wing currently. So I think we've got mostly people on in laps. I say that, Packer. We've got ERS Major on a very quick lap here. Just coming through the tunnel. He's 400s up on his PB.
Yeah, ERS Major just heading through the tunnel here on what will be, I think this is going to be his third run here in qualifying. So running a little bit low on the tire sets, a little bit messy through Nouvelle Chicane, just carrying, I think, a little bit too much speed through that second part. But through Tobacco looks pretty nice, holding fifth gear for the Alpha Tower driver through Swimming Pool. Now down to fourth to get the rotation. Looks very nice through this final sector so far for ERS Major. Into Raskas, pretty deep. Could have gone down maybe one more gear to get that rotation, but into Anthony Nogues and through the final corner, turn 19, using all of his ERS there, amazingly. It's a 10.7, goes in front of his teammate by 67 thousandths of a second. Ocon Corrupt on an outlap right now. He's going to be looking to improve as well. But ERS Major, he's going again, I think. Naturally, you don't want to back off and go for another flying lap with cooler tires and more ERS. But ERS Major doing 2 push laps in a row here.
It's just about doable. I mean, his tyres will start to overheat. Ghost Recon has popped into P6 on a 10.9. They Hate Melties on a very quick lap, an 18.391 in Sector 1. That's very good pace. And I say that he invalidated before on the inside, the second part of the Nouvelle Chicane. And we'll see if he's got any tyres to come back in and go again. I wonder if he's just going to save his ERS back up, though. Have another crack at it. Well, this is his third lap on that set of tyres already, so he should do well to come in and change them for a final run. Let's switch to Ocon Corrupt. As you mentioned, he was on his outlap. He's now having another crack at it, and he's taking, well, a couple of wide lines there through Massenet and Casino, but he's a tenth of a second up, a 6.33, nowhere near the 3.91 that They Hate Melty just put in. So They Hate Melty's got some serious pace in his Ferrari this weekend. If he can just hook up a valid lap, Slumpcon gets nicely out of the way there, as does Sir Ibo, but Ocon Corrupt looks a bit of a scruffy lap, if you ask me. The rear stepping out on him a little bit. I mean, the tyres really do slide and struggle here more than they do at other tracks, and he's clipped the barriers, and he's... Well,
Sandra's gone.
Sandra has gone indeed on the exit of Anthony Nose. I've been getting Anthony Nose and Raskas the wrong way around all evening. Thank you for the correction earlier on, Packer. But and Swip is missing a front wing as well. So it's been a bit of a calamitous minute, I would say, for the two Astons. Sandra in the bin, and Swip's front wing also joining her in the bin. And we've got a little train as well with Harry F. Sorry, Ghost Recon. And is that Slumpcon behind him? We've got Ghost Recon, Slumpcon, I think. Oh no, not Slumpcon. Oh, Slumpcon, a jump above Slumpcon. He hits the wall on the exit of turn 1. That's not going to be good for his final lap. It was the other Haas of MCFC that was following Ghost Recon round, and Jess Games also not on a lap behind.
I would just like to say, not to interrupt, but Bowers is looking pretty quick through this final sector. I'm not entirely sure, but he was up 2/10, but obviously with his teammate blocking him before, could be quite the lap. 9.8.
Oh, I thought we were going to see low 10s, but there we go. Bowers finally delivering on his promise, or Jav's promise rather, and pops in a 9.8. So let's go back to Slumpcon. Slumpcon's not on a quick lap. He's on a 19.1 in Sector 1, so I was right in saying he hit the wall there somewhere. Energetics not improving either. Major is on an outlap. Ocon Corrupt has now lost his front wing. There's been a few of those flying this evening already. They Hate Melty is going for another run. He's on his outlap. Harry F is a second down in Sector 1. No one looks to be improving right now, apart from Axel. Axel nearly half a second up through the middle sector of the lap. He gets the car nicely rotated and slowed down there into Raskas. Anthony Nose as well. Doesn't clip the inside or the outside barrier. Just the short dash to the line. He is going to improve, but by how much? Half a second, more or less, spot on. And he goes into P9 just behind Harry F. A good lap for him. Worth noting as well that Marcy is in P10 on the mediums. So, only man to get into the top 10 and commit to that strategy. We've got Serial Killer. He's improving. He's 7/10 of a second up with just a couple of corners to go. Very slow and lethargic, though, through the second part swim pool. I don't think this is going to catapult him too far up the order for the Red Bull man, but we shall have a CC. Top 3 all in the pits with just ERS Major to come. Serial Killer does improve to P11, so good lap for him. But Packer, ERS Major, 2 thousandths of a second down in Sector 1. Is he going to get this pole position, or is he going to find any improvement at all from P4?
It's going to be difficult to say through the grid. Hotel Hairpin took a wider line, as we head through turns 6 and 7 at Portier. Now through the tunnel, turn 9, and now down the hill towards the New Vale chicane, turns 10 and 11. Axel just up the road a little bit, getting away with the track limits there was ERS Major, but now through to back turn 12. Oh, and that's into the wall. That's going to be his lap over.
We'll jump on to They Hate Melty, who this time has navigated the Nouvelle chicane without invalidation, but he's having a big slide. He hit the curbs just the wrong way coming through swimming pool part 1, and I think he's thrown the lap away again, and Axel is getting in his way there. That's not going to help They Hate Melty. Big slide coming out of Raskas as well. And dear, oh dear, that was such a great lap, but it fell away from him in the end, and he did not improve with that slow down at the line. Oh, They Hate Melty could have been pole, but I wonder, Packer, could that be a sign of things to come if he just can't avoid those little mistakes, those little invalidations? Could they cost him big in the race? He's in a good position for now in P6, but do you think that could cost him in the race?
Well, as we saw last week, a few people not having the greatest of racecraft. No person pointed out in particular, but Monaco, the walls are going to be always close, or are always close and ever closing in, as it seems through as you go on throughout the race, and all 39 laps here that we're doing tonight at this esteemed circuit. But yeah, Bauer's going to be on pole position. Didn't get that lap in until late on, but I would assume if you're going to be starting on pole position, you're going to have a clean run into turn 1 if you get a decent enough start. Slumcon's going to be on the outside as we head down toward Saint-Devat. So Bowers and Slumcon looking pretty good already, but they're also going to have Energetics and ERS Major, two quite pacey drivers just on that second row just in behind them.
Yeah, I think it's very finely poised for what is to come, and we will run you through the full order. So Bowers is on pole from Slumpcon. Then it's Energetics in P3, and the Red Bull Championship leader starts third. ERS Major is fourth. So our top three of the championship are second, third, and fourth on the grid. Ocon Corrupt is in fifth. They Hate Multi is sixth. Ghost Recon, ever lurking in the top 10, is in P7. Harry F is in P8. Axel is ninth. Williams Marcy snuck into the top 10 in the end. Indeed, on the medium tyre. Serial Killer, he's P11. Jav is P12 in Sandra. Swip is in P13. Jess Gamers in 14th. Rickia 15th. Jamie Mayer in 16th. Pavo O'Reilly's in 17th. Ibo's 18th. Bellon with that calamitous first run with his teammate Bowers there, getting in his way to P19. And then SR MCFC 2020 is in P20 in the Haas. So neither of those guys, those last two, setting laps. And the Haas's and the Alfa Romeo is very much at opposite ends of the field. We've got an Alfa Romeo on pole and Alfa Romeo in P19. We've got a Haas in P2, a Haas in P20. So there's some nice symmetry for us there. Let's talk tyres, Packer. What's the strategy here?
Well, most people, besides Marcy, inside the top 10 will be forced on to those soft compound tires. Strategy is about soft medium, not necessarily a set lap that you want to go. The tires can go for quite a while, like 15 plus laps, really. But around lap 5, 6 is when they're going to start sliding around and getting hot. So I'd say soft medium, probably around the lap 5 to 10, depending on traffic, of course, and if you are able to come out into a gap that would favor you. Alternate strategy, start on the mediums, go medium hard. You can go anywhere from lap 15 to 20, about 15 to 25, and then also the other alternate strategy, medium to soft. You want to pit around lap 30-ish, maybe a little before that, maybe a little bit after that, just depending, once again, on traffic. So important here, where the other cars are in relation to you.
Yeah, I think strategy here is more traffic dependent than it is anywhere else. I think we saw that in Division 1. Traffic had a big role to play in shaping out some of those top positions, P3, P4, P5. So we've got 9 drivers on softs. The top 9, as you said, were forced onto them by virtue of qualifying on those tyres in the top 10. We've got 10 drivers on mediums from Marcy downwards to Bellon, and then NSR MCFC snuck on a set of Haas, and he'll be hoping to go long and just hope he can catapult his way through a bit of chaos going on. But it is a Haas and an Alfa Romeo on the front row and a Haas and Alfa Romeo on the back row, which pleases me greatly. We've got the two Alfa Tauris in close company in P4 and P5, and Energetics will just be hoping the two men either side of him, well, he'll be hoping that they can fall down somewhat and that he can capitalise and drive through a little bit of madness, which is something he's done quite well this season. I think Portugal springs to mind. France as well, he capitalised on tricky conditions, tricky race conditions to pull through into a race-winning and nearly a race-winning position. He'll be hoping misfortune before SlumpCon and ERS Major, and he could do the same again today. But it's Bowers on pole, and Packer, say the magic word, who's going to win this race today?
Well, based off of his pace in qualifying, being on pole 3.5 tenths-ish, I would like to say Bowers is a pretty safe prediction, but I think he's going to be able to get it done. 2 podiums in 2 races after his debut last week.
I would be a foolish man to bet against you and your powers of instinct. I'll back you on that one. Bowers for the win. If we can now get a nice view. Pole position, there we are. We've got Bowers is on the left of your screen, SlumpCon's on your right, Energetics and Major tucked in just behind. It's finally paused. It's going to be a tasty race, and it's lights out, and away we go, and Major ducking straight in behind Energetics there, and the Energetics up the inside of SlumpCon, going to try and nick P2 into turn 1 and end up getting out of shape a little bit, and Major's going to try and have a look up Beau Rivage towards Massenet. We've got a Ferrari slamming into the inside. That's They Hate Melty slamming into Harry F there into turn 2. Axel's out of shape as well. He nearly clips the back corner of Swip as he passes through, and I wonder if Axel's got some damage there, because Marcy, and yes, damage indeed, and oh, look at that traffic jam into the hairpin. Axel did have damage. That's what allowed Marcy through. 3 or 4 more cars joined him at the hairpin. They all bumped into each other. I don't want to say the word concertina, but it was very much analogous to that particular musical instrument. But it's Bowers that leads, and we've already got Packer quite a big field spread for lap 1. I think we're going to see 4 or 5 cars come in immediately to get a fresh front wing and some new tyres as well.
Ooh, Jav and Axel getting really close through the New Vale chicane. Axel's just been dropping.
Oh, Jav's hit the wall. I wonder. Yeah, Jav's got damage as well. I think possibly most of the guys from Jav backwards have damage. Ocon, Corrupt and Harry F have certainly come in, as has Swip now. Marcy's come in as well. Jav's coming in. We've lost Packer, ladies and gentlebeans, but no bother, as we've got the 2 Astons are having to queue up. We've got half the field is coming into the pits at the end of lap 1. Ocon, Corrupt, Harry F, Rickia, Swip, Babber, Axel, Marcy, Jav, J-Met, all in to change tyres. And up front, though, we've got Bowers comfortably is checked out by 1.8 seconds, and SlumpCon looks to have covered ERS Major and Energetics as well for the time being. They Hate Melties, keeping a watching brief on those guys. But let's have a look, check in what tyres they've gone on in the background. So the people who pitted, we've got Ocon Corrupt has gone medium, as has Harry F, as has Ricky towards the back. Swip, Babber, O'Reilly, Jav and Axel are all gone hards. Marcy and Jamie have gone soft, and SlumpCon has made a mistake here. He's hit the wall. We're going to have another one come into the pits at the end of the first lap, and Ghost Recon's going to make it too. He slams into the back of SlumpCon, who just parked his car ill-advisedly with no front wing at all in the middle of the track. The second man in the championship is going to be coming in there, and Ghost Recon is going to follow him. Bowers sets fast lap. He now has a 3.3 second lead. Out front, Major nips up into P3 as well. They Hate Melty has gained 2 places out of that. He's now up to 4th place. We had 9 drivers starting on the softs. Only 4 of those drivers who started on softs are still on them. We've got 2 who have changed onto them. That's Marcy and Jamie Met in the background. But we've had a lot of position changes. Bellon in all of this is up to P8. Remarkable that the Swiss man has found his way there. And I will try and find out what's happened to Packer. But I'm terrible at multitasking. So, Bowers leads. 3.4 seconds is his gap, and we've got quite a spread, as you can see. Look at those intervals that we've got. We've got Swip has lost his front wing again, has he? And he has. He's got his front right end plate missing there, as you can see. But let's switch to gapped leader, because half of the field is already more than half a minute behind the leader. Ibo letting everyone go here. Harry F up into 10th, Ibo back down to 12th. And but yeah, those gaps are massive. Let's pop the track map on now. We're a few laps into the race, and you can see there Bowers heading up towards Massenet, turn 2, and you can see the field spread because we're watching Bell on the P8, who's not even round the last couple of corners yet. And I'm delighted to say QVR Packer is back with us. Baba O'Reilly, a couple of penalties coming in at the back there. Ghost Recon passes Ibo, who lets him through, and Ocon corrupts into the pits for a second time. QVR Packer.
Well, I'm not exactly quite in the lobby yet, but I apologize. My internet has decided to die, so...
Well, we've got Ghost Recon in for a second change of tyres. We've got Swip coming in for a second change of tyres as well. We've already got several drivers who have made 2 stops here. I don't think we're going to see quite a... as I'll invite you back in. I don't think we'll quite see... too many drivers getting to the end on 1 or even 2 stops here. It doesn't seem likely, to be honest with you. But we have got quite a close battle out front. The top 4 covered by 6 seconds. Melty, close company with Major and Energetics, and we'll be seeing, I'm sure, one of these guys will crack and make a mistake at some point. Fast lap for Bowers, 13.3. MCFC started in P20. He's now up to P6 on his hards. I tell you just want to try through a bit of madness, and he's done exactly that. Jess also with a great start. She's in P7, 25.8 seconds off the lead. So these guys already a pit stop back. And Bowers could pit. We're on lap 5. Bowers could pit and rejoin in P5. Such is the situation we've currently got going on here. We've got a nice close battle. Bellon, Harry, and Slumpcon, and I think Bellon will be in no mind if qualifying things to go by to let any of these through. Harry F's pushed up against the wall, and Bellon just runs him clean out to the wall, and in fact takes out Slumpcon in the process there. Packer jumps back in, Slumpcon nips through. I wonder if he's got any damage. Bellon had, well, no real regard for his peer there, channeling the spirit of Emperor who served in the second race of a race ban, so Bellon doing enough dirtiness for the both of them there, and I'm not ashamed to say because that was dirty from Bellon. He closed Harry right off, and well, Packer, the field has changed somewhat since you were last in the lobby, but what do you make of now the situation on these after 6 laps now?
Well, I can see that Bowers is still in the lead. Energetics up to second from third on the grid. ERS Major up still in third as well. Let me just get the tires on the screen very quickly. So yeah, obviously top 4 still in the softs. ERS Major and Melty close out on track. Just I haven't exactly got my deltas back quite yet. So Serial Killer seems to be on his own. NSR MCFC seems to be on his own as well. But we also have a little bit of a train for what is that going to be? P14 in Harry F. And Bella swapping positions with some kind of Harry F into the pit lane.
Yep, I'm going to have to check because I cannot remember if how many stops we have had. So this is going to be Harry and Slump's first stop, I believe. No, it's their second stop. It's their second stop. So we've already had 5 drivers make 2 stops in this race. Bellon, by virtue of Harry's stop, resumes P9. He's just toddling along nicely. Marcy has pitted and he's in P8. Albeit he will have to pit again because he's put a set of softs on. And P8 is 41 seconds off the lead. We are on lap 7. That is an average of 6 seconds a lap that Bowers is quicker than them. And Bowers continuing to pull away from Energetics and Major behind. Major and Melty, very close battle on track right now. You have to say, Packer, Melty looks the quicker of the 2. And I wonder if Major might have a little bit of damage. It wouldn't surprise me based on how this race has started. Packer?
My mic was muted. ERS Major not carrying the most amount of speed that I've ever seen there through Casino Square, through that first sector, but now heading through the middle as well into Portier. He's going to have to get a good exit here. Let me just pop up the ERS. Melty using his ERS down toward the Nouvelle Chicane. ERS Major isn't using much to defend, but it's in vain for Melty. All that ERS gone for no real point. Just putting a little bit of pressure onto the back of that Alpha Tower. Ghost Recon and Sir Ibo are swapping positions up into turn 1. Ghost Recon up into P13 on his 3-lap-old soft compound tires. But back to Major and Mel. I think I just saw someone hit the wall. It might have been Serial Killer.
I'm not too sure. Let's go on board Serial Killer so we can see if there's any damage. It doesn't look like he's understeering too much, although He's got a 14-second gap behind him if he did have any issues. Melty, 10th of a second behind and hits Major through turn 1, and that leaves Major very out of shape. Melty taps him again. He looks right, he looks left, he looks right again as the track kinks this way and that up Beau Rivage, but there's no opening there for the Ferrari driver. He's just going to have to sit tight and wait. Is there going to be a little lunge into Mirabeau here? Major defends fresh air on the inside of the track, goes a bit deep into Mirabeau. That's going to compromise him in towards the hairpin, but Melty too far back, and Melty will conserve himself, I think, for a charge in a lap or so's time, perhaps towards the Nouvelle chicane. Doesn't look like he's close enough on this lap. Bowers lead up front, now 7 seconds, as Energetics got damage possibly. Is Energetics' pace dropping off, or is Bowers just finding his rhythm a little bit there as we're on lap 8? A second a lap, more or less, Bowers is finding over the championship leader. And we've got a yellow flag. We've got a Haas round. That is Slumpcom, P2 man in the championship. Oh, sorry, and I'm going to interrupt myself because Harry F is going side by side with Baba O'Reilly through turn 1. Baba O'Reilly has to jump straight out of that one. He locks up. Ibo is going to go side by side with him now, but Ibo concedes the place for Slumpcon. Has he got damage? Not visibly, but this is something we're saying in D1 Packer, that visible damage is very hard to spot on this game. Got no idea how many of these drivers will be running with a compromised front wing. And in Melty land, he is still hounding Major, who is derating. He's going to have a look on the inside of Massenet. No, he's not, but he's so close. Tantalisingly close to an overtake. Is it going to be one into Mirabeau here?
He looks up the inside. The George just gets a shot on him by ERS Major. That's some good defending, or just not being close enough, really. Akon Karup has made his way past Jamie Met 92 into the back, which is an interesting overtaking spot. As Baba O'Reilly picks up a 3-second time penalty. 3 people in this race already with penalties. Baba O'Reilly with 6 seconds, and then Ricky and Jamie Met with 5, as Baba O'Reilly is out of the race.
And Melty goes for it. Melty goes for it and collides with Major at the first part of the Nouvelle chicane. I think that was 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. But we shall see. As you say, yes, Baba O'Reilly's out of the race. No risk of a safety car. It's Monaco. The car's right in the racing line. Major nearly has to overcorrect there to avoid the stricken Ferrari. He will be ghosted, but it's still a massive distraction. Slumpcon comes into the pits again. Ghost Recon passes Jamie into Mirabeau. There's a little overtake going on there for P11. Major is into the pits, actually. So Major has had enough of his softs. And we are actually, for once, finally, in range of some scheduled stops as Slumpcon comes out from his 3rd pit stop of the evening.
Yeah, Slumpcon, currently last P19 and a lap down as well. Ibo, Swip, Axel, and Slumpcon all a lap down to our current leader in Bowers. Just looking throughout the field, MCFC and ERS Major, as the ERS Major coming out of the pit lane, MCFC gets in front of him and Jav down to P14. Ooh, I think that was Bellon who just went into the wall. And then also Jamie, Metmac, and Rickett fighting in the final sector.
If Bellon's in the wall, he's not got too much damage. His Major does nip through on MCFC. He needed to get that move done quickly and does so. 33 seconds off the lead, 19 seconds behind Melty. And the fact he's got that move done so quickly means there's a chance for Major now that he can safely build a bit of a gap to Melty that he didn't have before the pit stops. Penalty for serial killers, Energetics. Just have a look at him, but he's in a battle with cars that are a lap down on him. So we're already seeing cars lapped. And we've got, well, let's have a look at Harry and Jav that are battling away. And there's a collision there, possibly. And Jav, in letting the leader Bowers through, has let Harry F through and then hangs back behind Harry F. I wonder what Jav's strategy is here. He could have got past the Alpine there unless he had an obligation to let him through with a warning or something, but
maybe a little bit of damage.
Yeah, I was just thinking that on board with Jav, Aston is not really turning the corners like it should, and yeah, indeed, nearly. He does hit the wall in the tunnel, so Jav is going to make a second pit stop and doesn't even bother with the chicane. Gets a penalty. Might even retire this lap. Ocon Corrupt into the pits for his 3rd pit stop of the day. Possibly. I've lost count.
Just looking up at the front, I'm surprised Bowers hasn't been into the pit lane. Obviously, his pace still looking quite strong, pulled almost 10 seconds now to Energetics in second place, but he does have the gap in between Serial Killer and Melty. Maybe just waiting a few more laps if he has the pace still. Jab, as you mentioned, retiring in the pit lane. Sander is going to be done for this evening in this Monaco Grand Prix, and that will cause some yellow flags, but we also have a Red Bull into the pit lane. That's going to be Serial Killer, so that even further opens up the gap in behind where Bowers would be coming out if you were to pit just now. Serial Killer also getting a new front wing fitted to his RB17.
RB17B, I want to say. Well, that new front wing, it comes as standard, shall we say, around Monaco. And we've got a yellow flag. That is a Williams that's crashed at Rascasse. And we'll come to it in a second. They're coming into the pits now. I think it's Axel. It is Axel. He's in for his third stop. Because Ghost Recon is having a torrid time behind Bellon here. And I think finally he's going to get the move done. We'll see. And Bellon does concede. Axel retires in the pits. Bellon slips back into P10 now. As Bowers, our race leader, comes into the pits on lap 12 here. And it's going to be Energetics that takes the lead. No, it's not. Energetics into the pits. See if Melty does the same. And Melty is into the pit. So Bowers is on for a grand slam here. He could end up winning this race, leading every lap because of the fortuitous timings of the pit stops. Melty in. I think they've all gone mediums, and indeed they have. So soft medium for those guys. But where's Major going to come out in relation to They Hate Melty? That's what we want to see. And even with Energetics as well, there could be a double helping of goodness here for Major. Fastest lap, and he is going to be ahead of Energetics. Energetics skips across the yellow line, but it's not enough for him to come out ahead of Major. Major jumps into P2, and Melty 4 seconds back there.
Yeah, Melty not having the greatest of times of it. Energetics is going to be staying in P3. ERS Major able to stay in front of Melty, but also jump in front of Energetics, who's around 4 seconds in front. So that clean air really helping ERS Major. Now it could push on into the clean air, 10 seconds in front of him to Bowers, the race leader. I don't think he'll quite be catching the Alfa Romeo because the Alfa Romeo already pulling time on the Alpha Tower. But I'm sure that battle between ERS Major, Energetics, and possibly Melty, if he's able to get up to them, will be quite interesting. ERS Major, though, 3 year lap older tires, and just watching on board with him, picks up a 3-second time penalty.
It was going so well for ERS Major, but there we are. Monaco can throw anything at you, and as Murray Walk would say, it usually does. In the back, I want to give a shout out to Jess here in P7, not pitted yet. One of only 3 to not pit, has avoided damage successfully, and is navigating it well. Even if she does pit, she'll still come out in P9 ahead of Bellon. So she's in a really, really good situation here for when she wants to come off those medium tyres, probably in around 10 or so laps time. Unless she wants to go medium hards, which given her good track position right now, wouldn't necessarily be a bad idea. And so earlier on we had quite a big train, I want to say. Quite a big field spread. But now we've got quite a clustered train on the mini-map there, coming around Portier. But it's deceptive because some of them are on the lead lap and some of them are a lap down. We've got Harry, Ibo, Slumpcon and Jamie there that are all in a fight with each other. But then we've got Major and Energetics in amongst this, who are a lap ahead. So it's a bizarre race, isn't it, Packers? Ibo jumps out the way for some blue flags there, and in fact gets out of Jamie's way. He wasn't even being blue flagged at all. Such is Ibo.
Bowers' fastest lap now responding to ERS Major. ERS Major doing 2 fastest laps in a row, and then Bowers responding quite nicely. I would say 1.1 seconds faster than his personal best, and that gap is now extended to 11.1 seconds. 11.1 seconds for Bowers. ERS Major not exactly pulling away from Energetics, but not exactly closing in is the Dutch Championship leader. They Hate Melty. Closed in just a little bit, but not too much. Marcy into the pit lane for another set of soft tires. That's an interesting decision considering it's only lap 15, what will be 16 for the Mercedes driver, and he has to do what would be another 24 laps on those tires.
Marcy building his wing damage into his strategy from the outset. I respect a man who comes prepared. Swip gets a penalty. He's in P13 right now. And now it's just still 3 drivers who haven't pitted. Jess, Bellon, and Ibo. Energetics penalty. That's huge. Championship leader picks up a pen, which is going to compromise any chance he had against the ERS Major, at least of taking an easy second place. He could still... Oh, Energetics Major hits the wall on the exit swim pool too. He ghosted. He might well have some damage to have a look. Nothing visible, but I'd be surprised if he's got away with it without even some light damage there, which is going to slow him down considerably. He darts the left-hand side of the track to try and break some slipstream. Slumpcon retires in the pits after his 4th trip to the pits. So our second man in the championship, is out, and that just leaves these two, our top, our leader, and our man in P3 and Major has definitely got damage there. He's struggling through Massenet and Casino Square. Energetics is just having a look left, having a look right, seeing if he can wean an opening out of Major there. But he can't afford to squirm away like that. He could make a costly error and cost himself some big points. And we are backpacking into a situation where we've got huge fields. So we've got Major and Energetics is our one battle, and we've got one between Bellon and Ocon Corrupt as well, which I'm scared to see how that might end, as we've got Ivo into the pits for his first stop of the race.
We also have MCFC and Marcy. Marcy pitting onto those soft tires, not exactly pulling away from MCFC, as Ocon Corrupt and Bellon will swap places for P9. Ocon Corrupt making that move head to turn 1 as Ibo will come out of the pit lane just in front of them. But yeah, not too many battles out on track. Ricky and Ghost Recon battling on track. Ghost Recon will back off through Beau Rivage and through Massenet. Ibo has spun, but is a lap down and ghosting is on, so will be indirectly out of the way. I'm not sure if it's just me, but I think Ghost Recon is lagging ever so slightly as MCFC in his battle with Marcy picks up a 3-second time penalty through the Nouvelle chicane.
I think you could be right on Ghost Recon, but then it's just American things, isn't it?
I find that racism, but you know, we'll ignore it.
Bowers, 13.3 second lead out front. He has well and truly checked out. He is loving life. Saturday night drive for him, and he can afford to go allegedly place drop off a couple of tenths and just make sure he doesn't get any penalties or damage, which is probably a more costly impediment to victory. Still Major and Energetics 4 tenths per second back, and Melty is now joining the party, less than a second behind. So we've got a nice tasty battle for P2 here. That was a warning for Melty if ever I saw one into the Nouvelle chicane. And I just saw Ghost Recon, what you were saying, jumping about the track there on the track map. Ocon Corrupt comes into the pits for, I want to say, the 4th time now. Another front wing change, another set of softs, so he's going to have to come in again still. That was his 4th stop, so it's going to be at least 5 trips through the pits for Ocon Corrupt. He will be running out of tyres very soon, and what has happened here with Riccia, and it's just getting out of the way for Bowers, actually. These guys are all getting lapped. And in fact, Ghost Recon's going to try and make the most of this. He's going to try and sneak through Riccia into Mirabeau, but he has to back out, and I can't tell what he's doing because of that American internet that he's got. But interesting to know that Bowers has now lapped everybody in the top 9, and it will very soon be, well, he's well on his way towards, and Marcy passing Jess Games there, who Jess Gamer very happy to get out of Marcy's way, having not pitted. And Jess Gamer playing this one, playing the percentage game, I think it's safe to say. And I'm going to jump back and interrupt myself yet again, because Riccia hit the wall at the exit to back, probably got damage. Ghost Recon's up into P10.
Yeah, you don't want to be hitting the wall at the back. You don't really want to be hitting the wall anywhere from personal experience. But Energetics and ERS Major going deep into the swimming pool chicane. A big slide, though, having to correct that for and now Energetics through that final sector. Melty has well and truly got onto the back of this battle. 4P2 out on track. Energetics right on the back of the Alpha Tower. At least he was through the final sector, but not quite close enough. Is the Red Bull on its sister team, or on its sister card now? Serial Killer picks up, I think that's a second 3-second time penalty, I would like to say. Yep, 6 seconds for the second Red Bull driver in terms of position at least. ERS Major still in P2, but it's so very difficult to overtake here at Monaco. The walls are close, and the track is very tight. The shortest circuit in terms of length on the calendar. Not exactly the shortest in terms of lap time, but it is quite close there in competition with Canada and Austria. But yeah, people swapping positions down lower throughout the field. Harry and Riccia, I think Riccia might have a little bit of damage. We're just struggling to turn the car through the tunnel.
Let's have a look, shall we? See how Rickia is doing, and he's covering off Swip in a really bizarre way. And then ends up letting him go, and Swip hits the wall on the inside into back. Was caught by that allowance really from Rick to let him through, and then 100% picks up some damage on the inside of back. No one to blame but himself, but he will have been very distracted by the Williams going quite slowly there. He's going to have to come in. That's going to be his third visit to the pits. Rickia is going to follow him. He has damage as well. And in the background, actually, no, scratch that. We got Harry F. passing Bellon. They both hit the wall on the exit of Saint-Denis. Could be damage for both of them. Probably is, with how this race is going. As just behind them, Energetics continuing to get closer to Major, hits the back of the Alpha Tauri at Massenet. Not officially turn 2 with the bumpy hill of Beau Rivage. Look at Melty coming up the inside of Mirabeau there. Energetics hits the wall, then hits Melty, bounce from pillar to post. Melty nips through into P3 without a penalty. That's P2 for Melty now, the only one of these squabbling trios without a penalty. And in all of this, Bowers is now 19 seconds up the road, and I think Melty is going to make this a double overtake because he's got a huge run on Major. He's using his overtake. Major's derating. He's got the inside as Melty. Major covers him off, but he's got enough room on the outside. He just needs to nip through, and he's got to use all of his overtake towards to back. Here we go, side by side, and then neither wants to yield. Melty comes out of it on top, but I think both come out of it without damage, just about. Major skids completely over the second part swimming pool, refusing to let that place go. But I think Melty is through, and Melty is quicker. As Energetics, he did get damage in all of that. Energetics into the pits, but such is this race, he's not going to lose any time whatsoever, at least in terms of, well, he's not going to lose any track position whatsoever.
Yeah, Energetics, Major, Melty, all of them got very close together, close to each other throughout that last lap, lap 20, but Melty, in the end, able to get past ERS Major through to back there. Good move there from Melty around the outside of the Nouvelle chicane, at least the second part, and then the inside of Tabac. Very nice move there from the Ferrari driver, and showing some very impressive racecraft compared to last week. I know I keep commenting on it, but it wasn't too good. But yeah, Melty showing what he has here in Division 5. Is going to make his way past for a Mayo round. That's going to be Bellon going up the hill towards Massenet on those hard tires, just pitted onto them. Maybe they weren't quite warmed up and had a little bit of a spin, but ERS Major now, after Melty made that move, and Energetics making his pit stop, who now has come out behind his teammate, ERS Major picking up his second time penalty.
Bellon had such a good start to this race. He found himself in P8 just by avoiding a pit stop, and in the end he's going to slide all the way to the back.
ERS Major in.
Major is into the pits, and in all of that as well, Serial Killer let Energetics go. I believe he let his teammate through, and it's going to be very close now as Major, he's having to take a new front wing. So this is actually going to be very close between Energetics and Major. I think we've got a yellow flag. That is for a Williams, I think, on the exit of Nouvelle Chicane. I think it's Rickia. It's going to be quite close between Energetics and Major, but I think Energetics is going to have this just about. He's going to have to take a steeper, higher line through turn 1, and it's very close, in fact. Energetics just comes out of that head. Serial Killer into the pits behind them as well. And, well, our top 3, Packer, are now covered by 46 seconds.
Yeah, quite a big gap, it must be said. Bowers leading this race by 20.8 seconds. Pulled out a few seconds since the last time we checked in with him. Let's ride on board. Well, I'll ride on board with him just a little bit. Clean air, as much as you really need for one singular person. Also, Serial Killer was into the pit lane on that previous lap, so he came out in P7.
Oh no! Major slammed into the back of Energetics at the Nouvelle Chicane, and I think that could be another pit stop for Major incoming.
Also Melty into the pit lane, so that will complete the triad of pit stops for what was the bottom 3 in that top 4 just a few laps ago. ERS Major to the final 2 corners, not into the pit lane, surprisingly enough. They are going to have Swip just in front of them, P12. Getting lapped by Energetics very soon. They hate Melty, though, with his pit stop. No front wing taken, it seems. 7 seconds in front of Energetics with no penalties.
Reasonable enough. He was 20 seconds off the lead anyway. He just take the opportunity Oh, that's Bellon. I thought that was Bowers for a second, but Bellon made a mistake at 40. But yeah, if you're in Melty's position, more than reasonable, just take the opportunity to get some fresh tyres and make your life as easy as it can be. Don't give Energetics and Major any chance or risk to catch up to you. Use what you've got and make it your life nice and easy to the end of the race. Has given Bowers a monumental lead now, 39 seconds. Although that will start to close up.
Yeah, hopefully with those fresh tires, Melty will be able to close in. Not like it'll mean too much as MCFC picks up another 3-second time penalty, 3-lap old medium tires for the Haas driver, or for reserve, I do believe as well. I'm not entirely sure on that one. I could check myself on that. MCFC reserve driver. So his second race here in Division 5 after scoring 3 points in Austria, currently picking up 4 here on track. He does have 6 seconds of penalties compared to Harry's 3, so he's going to have to watch that gap as we head into the last 16 or so laps of this Monaco Grand Prix. But Bauer still out in the lead of this race. They're leading by 38.4 seconds.
Marcian for his third stop, and that is going to see him lapped by our race leader, and that'll leave only second to sixth now free of being lapped, and I think Serial Killer and Jess are going to be lapped indeed by the end of the race. Jess certainly will. She is yet to pit. So we're going to see only the top 4 finish this race on the same lap, but that's assuming Energetics and Major don't need to pit again. So quite a remarkably dominant display from Bowers, who is very much in the completely by himself. Major, he must not have damage because he's very much keeping it on the back of Energetics, isn't he? He's staying within half a second or so through the middle part of this lap, but he can't afford to make any mistakes like that, cluttering the wall on the outside of swimming pool. Otherwise, he will find himself with some damage. And these two, I tell you what, they're not catching Bowers. I thought, even with fresh tyres, they are slower than Bowers, admittedly. Even with fresh tyres, I thought they would catch up, but seems to be the case absolutely not. And what have you spotted?
Well, Melty just set the fastest lap. I thought I saw an Alfa Romeo in the wall. I thought it might. I had a slight sliver of hope for a possible race win, well, battle for the race win. But it was just Bellon into the pit lane and a ghost yellow flag, I would assume. So not Bellon almost going around, but yeah, the thing that my heart wanted didn't exactly happen.
While we have this slight admitted lull in proceedings, let's check in on how Division 2 is going. XL Gary is the net leader of the race, remarkably. Funky Chicken is in net second, and Kriko is a net third. Well, never thought I'd see XL Gary win a Monaco Grand Prix, but there we are. And still, just a shout out, Jess Gamer still hasn't pitted, so she's making the one-stop work. Going to go for a medium soft, I think. Currently in P6. When she pits, she'll be out in P10. Good points again for our McLaren, and we've got a Red Bull round. That was Serial Killer at the Nouvelle Chicane, and could be needing another pit stop, potentially.
Yeah, Serial Killer, not having the greatest of times of things, but still in P5, interestingly enough, just getting picked off by Bowers there, and we'll go down one full lap. There's a Williams around at the back. I think that was Rickiet just having a little bit of an off, going slow through the tunnel, no front wing at all for Rickiet there. Bellon just behind him, Ibo behind him as well. But up at the front, once again, not too much happening as we go throughout this race. Bauer still leading, Melty still in second. Energetics and Major still split by just over a second as the Nouvelle Chicane barrier will spark away. Serial Killer heading through the first sector. There's a yellow flag once again through the final sector. It's not Bellon, but Bellon has spun just in front of Imbo at Mass Portier and has hit the wall all by himself and retired.
Is this the time for a Monaco safety car to bless us with its presence? Already, the answer to that one is no. I had hyped myself up there for that one. But, I mean, Bowers could afford to pit twice under a safety car and still be in the lead of the race. There's no real threat to him at all. The only threat is if he DNFs. Even if he loses his front wing at turn 1, he's still got enough time to do a whole lap and still be fine to make another pit stop. Bellon's torrid race comes to an end. It started so well, from P19 to P6, and he finds himself out as our 5th retiree of the race. So 3 more retired. Everybody gets points. Jess Game still hasn't pitted. Bao still only had 1 stop. Ib only had 1 stop. Only
Jess
3.
is in.
Jess is in. So as I say that, only 3 drivers in this race have had less than 2 stops. And including those drivers who have DNF'd, it's still Baba O'Reilly's still the only one who's not pitted twice of our DNFers. So a remarkable amount of pit stops at Monaco. If you give me some time, I'd love to add them up at the end of the race and see just how many we've had. But Jess comes out in P9 on a fresh set of softs. That's going to be a really good run for her. She can catch up to Harry F. Potentially with Harry F's penalty. She could even nab P8 here. So it could be a very strong result. And Jess, that's something that we've seen a lot from Jess this season, isn't it? That she's done a really good job at making the one-stop work for one, and just not getting penalties or damage. It's working for her very well. It's working for Jamie as well. Not so much this race, but so far this season, McLaren have made a living out of that, and it's Jess has shown that again today.
Yeah, Jess doing pretty well already in this race so far. P9 after picking up 10 points in Austria last week. Obviously, the 2 late safety cars, or 1 late safety car, the late safety cars would have helped her with that result, P5, but she was in the position to take advantage of said safety cars. So 10 points to her tally already this season, and looking to put some more points on the board, picking up 4 as of right now if she were to stay in P9, 5 if she were to get up into P8. So looking for as many points as possible, but we can just quickly run through the order. Obviously, Bowers, Melty, Energetics, and Major, who's fallen off the back of Energetic, then is into the pit lane, taking his free pit stop over Serial Killer here on lap 29 of 39.
I just counted. This is our 51st stop of the race, ladies and gentlemen. 51st pit stop of the evening. So we'll keep count from there. But we've hit a half century of pit stops. Monaco promised and Monaco delivered. There we go. 36 seconds is Bauer's lead now over the hit Melty, who has comfortably stretched his legs from Energetics. Major making that pit stop is very much all by himself. 28 seconds behind Energetics. And he's got a 7.5 second lead ahead of Serial Killer with considerably fresher and quicker tyres on the softs. I'm at a loss here, Packer. Where's our battles to speak of? We've got Swift versus Ocon. Half a second between them going into the tunnel. Other than that, Marcy close-ish to Recon. But it looks like this is just a case of closing things out for Bowers with his 36-second lead.
Yeah, Bowers, as you mentioned before, just taking a very nice Saturday evening drive. Might be getting a little tired, might take a nap, however you're feeling really to finish this race. Now, Ocon Corrupt picking up a 3-second time penalty, goes deep into Rascas as well. That's 12 seconds for Ocon Corrupt as he heads into the pit lane. He still has the gap on track, at least, over Jamie. Jamie with 3 seconds of time penalties being 33 seconds behind. That gap is going to get quite close, I would imagine, after the penalties are applied. Sir Ibbo,
Bowers
pick up a 3-second time penalty, getting out of the way of Melty. And Bowers, race leader into the pit lane, I'd imagine, for a fresh set of soft tires.
So that's our 52nd and 53rd stops of the race. And Bowers, why not? Penalty for Melty, that shouldn't be too costly because he was in a comfortable position anyway. So Bowers makes the timing sheets look a little more respectable. Where they hit Melty, is still going to be nowhere near him when he emerges from the pit stop in amongst some traffic, but they're ghosted, so no issues for the Alfa Romeo driver. And that Marcy recon battle has actually set up a little notch. We've got Marcy is now half a second behind Ghost Recon. In fact, if Marcy plays this right, there's a chance here because Bowers is about to lap them. Marcy could try and aim to follow Bowers through, take advantage of the ghosting, and follow Bowers as he nip literally and figuratively through Ghost Recon, using the ghosting into P6. But I think in fact he ended up losing more time than he's gained with Bowers lapping. But we'll see if Ghost Recon has to slow down at all. Quite a few drivers actually, Packer, today have avoided penalties. I have to say, more than I was expecting.
Yeah, it is
relatively easy to get penalties here. A few spots, obviously being on the limit most of the time, and even with the walls being quite close, it is pretty easy to get penalties here at Monaco. Bowers with none so far. We can just run you through the penalties once I get them up. Melty with 3 energetics, with 3 ERS Major, just picking up his ninth half a lap ago. Serial Killer on 6, yellow flag in the final sector. That's for, I think that was the half of MCFC. Energetics lapping him. Serial Killer with 6. I'm not sure if I already said that already. But there you go. Ghost Recon with none. Marcy with none. Harry F with 3. Jess with 9. As yellow flags, again, that's going to be Ibo. MCFC with 6. Ship 6. Akan Corrupt with 12. Jamie Met with 3. And then Ricky and P14 with none. And then Ibo down in P15 and last with 6 seconds. So quite a few penalties to speak of, but also a lot of drivers with none.
Yeah, it's been a bizarre race. I mean, I suppose you expect nothing less from Monaco, and all I can say is thank you for being able to commentate, because if I was doing this alone, it's not exactly the most classic to fill 75 minutes of action with. But Marcy, who was threatening to be very close to Ghost Recon, is actually now 1.6 seconds behind. So I wonder if Marcy picked up a little bit of damage. He was struggling with a bit of understeer a couple of laps ago. So that gap is extending after it had been closing in. Jess Gamer, she's catching Harry F, doing a really good job of it. She's 9.1 now behind Harry F. Still needs another 5 seconds or so to pull him into penalty range. But with the sauce, she might have a chance to do so. Well, it has a little mistake there at Anthony Nose. Bauer stretching his legs up front still. The gap has pulled out by another 3 seconds or so since he's pitted by virtue of the fresh sauce. Just 6 laps to go, including this one, as Ibo gets a 10-second time penalty for corner cutting at the Nouvelle chicane. That's ill-advised, and he's now on 16 seconds of penalties. So, Packer, let's talk with 6 laps to go. Let's talk the championship. Energetics is going to stretch his lead, but Bowers is going to throw himself really, really straight into this. Bowers will have 40 points from 2 races. Major will be back on with a strong result as well in P4. Although I say that, Serial Killer is starting to catch him quite considerably. Slumpcon's out of the race after a P2 in Imola and a win last week. How do you think that the championship stacks up? Do you think Energetics, while he's not the quickest driver potentially at any one race this season, his consistency compared to those around him is serving him well, that he just looks stronger and stronger?
Well, he's been obviously a very consistent driver throughout this season so far. Energetic 78 points, 2 wins from the first 2 races, a 3rd place and a 4th place from Portugal and Austria the last 2 weeks. So, and then another 3rd place here in Monaco. And really, it wasn't much of a contest here for Energetics. He got undercut by Melty, with Melty taking that earlier pit stop. But besides that, no real mistakes from the Dutch championship leader. So yeah, he deserved leader of the championship so far throughout this season. So another 15 points to his tally, I'm sure he will not be angry with. Slumpcon didn't have the greatest of races, obviously, retiring very early on. I'm sure he's going to be mad, and I'm sure he would have wanted more from this race. ERS Major P4, few mistakes, a lot of penalties, but once again, P4, not anything you can really complain about. Ghost Recon, though, he's really one that hasn't, well, I wouldn't say he hasn't really done well, but he's up in P6 with no penalties. I guess he just hasn't really made much of an impression as a Mercedes around. That's down at the final corner. So I don't think he's going to lose any positions. Harry F's still quite a ways behind him. Just looking back at the championship, though, Jav retired early on into this race. Swip currently in P11, picking up 2 points, adding 2 points to his tally, so will be with 10 points behind his Aston Martin teammate. Harry F still out on track and P8 with 3 seconds of time penalty, so will be adding points to his tally after his podium, his 1 point in Austria, 2nd place in Portugal. Jamie Met adding another point as of right now to his tally. Just looking around, a few people that we might have expected to do well, as Akan Corrupt picks up a corner cutting penalty. I'm not entirely sure what that would be for. Maybe turn 1, I guess.
I'm sure Riordan and Joseph would have absolutely loved to be here, as well as Ben Scott to be here as well to pick up a few points. But obviously, they're not here. People filling in for them. 16 points for Ben Scott, and then 10 for for both Ferraris. I'm sure they would have loved to add more points, especially here at Monaco.
Well, you say Ben Scott would love to be here. I'm not sure he would have. He has a qualifying ban, so that'll be served the next race he attends. So maybe it's better to get it out of the way at Monaco, I suppose. But he'll be serving that next week at Silverstone. As Jess passes Harry F. Harry F's into the pits, and if I'm not mistaken, that is pit stop number 54 of the race. Harry F in, and he is going to come out in P10 because Swip is a mile back. Let's have a look at gap to leader. Let's see what the lapping stakes are like. ERS Major is actually very close to being caught by Bowers to get lapped. You can see Bowers coming through swimming pool now. He's only a few seconds back. His Major hits the wall, and I think he's got damage again. So let's have a look at stops. Major's made 3 stops already, and indeed he hits the wall again. Brain dead moment there from Major, and another one come down straight. Yeah, I think Bowers could well lap Major as well. So I think we're on course back to see only the top 3 finish the race on the lead lap. We've got Rick here and Ocon corrupt into the pits. They are stops 55 and 56 of this evening, and Major is going to let Bowers through, I think, because he wants one less lap to complete of Monaco, and who can blame him? If you have the opportunity to drive less Monaco, why wouldn't you take it?
Yeah, exactly. Monaco, it can be quite an enjoyable track when it comes to hot lapping, if you do enjoy it, of course. Obviously, a certain car mentalist absolutely adores this circuit. Some other people maybe not so much, but yeah, if it does get quite grueling, especially once you get right down to the end of this race, and
serial
you
killer.
have serial killer.
I think his back wheel might have just caught the inside curb and he spun round. No harm done, I think.
Yeah, Monaco can be quite grueling, especially once you get to the end of 39 laps. Ooh, that serial killer into the barrier at Rascasse. Then that will be a lost position to Ghost Recon. A serial killer into the pit lane. He might lose a position to Marcy as well, but that might be a little close. But yeah, once again, can be quite grueling here. Monaco, the mistakes start to creep in, especially once you get right down to the end. You're sweaty. If you haven't seen anyone in a while, you're kind of just driving an autopilot. But if you're in the train, you're going to be ultra focused, and most people aren't here tonight, unfortunately. Missing out on a few racing moments. But yeah, Marcy up in front of serial killer now. So Marcy goes up positions, and Energetics into the pit lane now, taking the free pit stop over ERS Major. ERS Major now just heading through the tunnel, and Energetics can be looking to take that fastest lap point off of Bowers. He's gonna have to go, let me look very quickly, a second and a half plus faster than his personal best to get that fastest lap off of Bowers.
Yeah, it's a 10.9 for Bowers, 12.4 for Energetics. So long as he's not lapped, which he's not.
2.5. Wait, no, second and a half.
Yeah. As long as he's not lapped by Bowers, there's no problem there, and he is not. He's still on the lead lap, so he picked on lap 37. He's got 38 now to warm up the tyres, and then 39 to go hell for leather for that fast lap. Let's have a look at positions change. So Bowers, Energetics, Major, all where they started. Melty is up 4th. Ghost Recon, Marcy, Serial Killer, Jess Gamers, MCFC have all gone up. The only people who are still running, who have lost places, are Harry F and Ocon Corrupt. And Ocon Corrupt is in again. That's pit stop number 57 of the day. That will be his 9th pit stop. Impressive. Impressive. 9 pit stops. Oh no, sorry, that was his 10th. So 10 pit stops for Ocon Corrupt. He's in double figures. And we've not even mentioned it. We're on the last lap. So let's talk about our leader, Bowers. Podium last week at Austria. Dominant victory this week. He's going to win by 26 seconds. And he's lapped the entire field apart from the top 3. And they are 26 seconds, 53 seconds behind, respectively. He has not put a foot wrong. No penalties, no damage. one pit stop, or two pit stops because he had one for free. He's done everything he needed, and Bowers wins in dominant fashion the Monaco Grand Prix. He takes the full 25 points. It's going to be They Hate Melty, who is going to be some way behind, but as Major is the first of a lap car to finish in P4, so we're only waiting for Melty and Energetics on the lead lap to come through. Been a great result for Melty. We asked, could he, as he nearly crashes there, we asked, could he keep it together and avoid incident, avoid penalty? He's done just that. He takes P2. Great podium for him. It's going to be Energetics who's going for that fastest lap, and we'll see if he has got enough to steal that fast lap away from Bowers and take an extra point, make it 16 rather than 15. He needs an extra half a second or so, second 3 versus his personal best to make it stick. Ocon retires at the last corner, and he just misses out by 10th of a second. It's Energetic, so everyone's finished now apart from Swip, and Jamie Ocon is finished. So we're just waiting for Swip, who's a lap down, and Jamie, who is 2. Jamie round the last corner now, and he will coast across the line. We've not even mentioned the full running order. It's going to be Bowers that wins, Melty second, Energetic third, then Major, Ghost Recon, Marcy, Serial Killer, Jess Game, Harry F, and I missed who was in P10. But everyone was fairly safe to say, Packer at the end there, was very, very spread out.
Yeah, Endgame fans giving the drive of the day to MCFC. I believe he went up 11 positions, I want to say, from P20. Obviously started on those hearts in last, and there's Bowers showing us the heart up on the Monaco podium. But yeah, we can't very quickly run through the order. So it's going to be Bowers who takes 26 points. In front of Melty, Energetics, ERS Major, Ghost Recon with another solid but quiet result for him. Marcy P6, Serial Killer P7, Jess Games P8, Harry F in P9, and then MCFC in P10. So only up 10 positions. Swip to P11, and then Jamie to P12 will pick up the final points position. And then out of the drivers who finished, but not in the points, we had Ricky in 13th, 3 laps down, Ocon Corrupt in P14. 3 laps down, or 4 laps down, and then Ibo P15, 4 laps down as well. And out of the people who were unable to finish all 39 laps, or close to 39 laps, Bellon, Slipcon, Axel, Jav, and Baba O'Reilly. Hello?
Hello. Pardon me, I was just drinking. I want to give a shout out to Ocon Corrupt. Not alcohol, of course, don't do drugs, kids. Ocon Corrupt, with 10 pit stops. Legend of the game. 6 for the... Oh, sorry, no, that's grid position. Got carried away there. 2 for our leading duo. Shout out to Jess as well. She went through the whole race with just 1 pit stop and it gained her 6 places. But strange credulity, doesn't it? How dominant Bowers was that race. 29 seconds. It could have been nearly double that if he hadn't made another pit stop. Victory from pole victory, fastest lap, and led every lap. It has been a grand slam for Bowers today. He's done everything he could have done statistically. He has done. So, Packer, are we able to see if we can get our podium finishes into the party for a quick chinwag?
Let us see indeed. I will have to search up a few people. Let's look here. I'm gonna get NL Energetics _ Energetics, of course. Jetic 6. And then we had Bowers. Was it 2413? And then who was the last podium finisher? It was it ERS Major? Or no, it wasn't, was it? Let's look at... It was, oh, They Hate Melty, of course. Alright, people have been added to the party. Some people cannot be added because of their settings. Absolutely fantastic. That will be They Hate Melty. Oh, Jake.
Packer.
I'm not sure if you're aware, but we had our very own Luke Etheridge apparently in this race.
I was not aware. Who was that? Was that Barbara O'Reilly?
Yep.
Well, congratulations, Luke Etheridge, for his first LOE race coming home in. Not coming home, actually, DNFing. But we've got podium people in the party. We've got a Bowers and we've got a Wild Energetics with us today. So we'll start. I think we had both of those last week, did we? We'll start with race winner, Bowers. Not much more to say after that, apart from congratulations, because I just said at the end of the stream there, you won the race, you got pole position, you got fastest lap, and you led every lap of the race as well. So you got a perfect grand slam there. So congratulations. How was that from your side of things?
Yeah, thank you very much. I mean, it's my first full Grand Slam in just over a year and a half of league racing, so I'm buzzing for that. But yeah, qualifying started a little bit iffy. I got held up on my first lap. Second lap, I made a mistake at the chicane, just tapped the inside wall, and then managed to hook it up to the final lap. Then my only sort of goal was lead out at turn one, which I was a little bit confident with that as well, because last week I know completely different track, but I was able to get off the line well. And then yeah, pretty much after turn one, it was just lap by lap, just keep it clean.
I think you were the only one to keep it clean. It was yourself and Jess game that didn't have an unscheduled stop. So was there any risk at any point you felt, or were you always calm and comfortable? Did you ever feel threatened at all by the barriers? Any panic at all, or was it always very calm even in those last few laps?
There was two instances. One, I think lap 3, just coming out of casino, I had like 3 tank slappers, and I was like, okay, let's just calm it down a little bit. Got a little bit excited, I think. And then when I went for the fastest lap push, like lap 31 or something, at Portier, just before the tunnel, I clipped the inside wall, and I was like, okay, let's just take the rest of this lap, calm down. And yeah, just sort of bring the car home at that point. I wasn't willing to risk 25 points to get one extra, really. But
Well, if you'd seen PC last night, you would know that someone did exactly that and ended up losing the win coming into the pits for a fastest lap point. And they lost their front wing as well, not just the win. But Silverstone next week, you're very much in the title hunt now. You've got 40 points from 2 races. You're there. I'm sure Energetics won't like me saying that. But how are you feeling going forward with Silverstone? It's a very different track. It's one of the more high-speed tracks on the calendar. So it's the complete opposite of Monaco. So how are you feeling about Silverstone?
I don't expect the same performance sure tonight. I can say that very confidently. I'm not going to be this strong anywhere else. But I think Silverstone, it's a little bit of a strong track for me. It's my home race, so I'd like to do well. But my performance hasn't always been the best around there.
Well, Packer, have you got anything to ask our race winner?
Well, there isn't really much to talk about besides, I guess, qualifying, so no, not really.
Fair enough. Let's move on to our second place driver, because I believe we have the Hate Melting Party with us. Hello, congratulations, your second LOE race, and already you've got a P2 to your name. How was that race for you?
Yeah, well, I wasn't expecting to get up there really, because quali didn't exactly go to plan. I feel like I could have been a bit further up, but it's Monaco, there's no room for error, and I made some errors, so I was happy that I could take advantage of people's mistakes and get my hands dirty and get some moves done myself.
Yeah, I did notice on board that you went invalid a couple of times at the Nouvelle chicane on your first 2 runs, but you pulled it out in the end. Did you feel you could have perhaps won that race if you were up there with Bowers from the start, if you weren't behind Major and Energetics, or do you think you could never have challenged for the win today?
I'm not sure. Bowles was absolutely rapid. He really deserved that win, but I don't think I could have matched his pace really. I had a really good battle with Major and Energetic, so as far as Monaco battles go, that was probably one of the best ones.
It was a cracking little scrap between you three. Same as I said to Bowers, we've got Silverstone next week, which is the polar opposite of what we had today. How do you fancy that? It's much more in line with what we had last week at Austria. So how are you feeling about Silverstone?
If I get called up, I'm on the reserve, but it is my home race, so I'd like to do well. I think it's not my strongest track ever, but I think I definitely do have some pace on there to maybe challenge for another podium.
Well, hopefully, because the more drivers that we have fighting for races, victories, and podiums, which seems to be there's a lot this season in D5, the better the season will be. Packer, do you have anything to ask of They Hate Melty?
Well, I guess just well, I guess you already covered how you feel after, a podium, and a pretty decent performance after last week. So just congratulations, and towards Silverstone if you're able to get in for next week.
Thank you very much.
And then let's lastly go on to our third place man, NL Energetics. Championship leader still. Another podium for you, sir. You're fourth in 5 races. How was that for you? Because it seemed like you had some quite tense moments, particularly during those battles with with Major and Melty.
Yeah, I was like, keep my wing. That was my first plan. And seeing Bowers pull away really quickly, I thought, yeah, let's just focus on my own race. Don't hit the back of anyone. But that, didn't go quite well. And I saw Major having damage out of the third chicane, last chicane, sector 3. So I thought, let's take different lines to force him into an error, and then Melty was like a bus, and he bossed his way through there, in my opinion, but it's Monaco, so you need to do that sometimes.
Well, it came out all right in the end, and it seems so far this season that you've managed to navigate some tricky situations very well. France and Portugal spring to mind, now Monaco as well. You came through without relatively unscathed. How bullish are you feeling now about the championship? Because every race, the drivers you're competing with seem to change. It was Slumpcon last week, it's Bowers this week. How does that give you confidence for the title going forward?
No, I'm not gonna win the title. I'm not. They're a lot quicker at most tracks. I'm a bottle job in quali mostly, but I like Silverstone. It's an easy track for no assists. It's easy track to find the limits. Also go over it, but just like this track, it's different track. What you said, DRS train, but also there is a trick if the safety car comes out. I know that, and I don't know if everyone knows that.
To be honest, I don't know what trick you're.
Well, yeah, if there's a safety car, you always have to pit. Otherwise, you will be 20 seconds behind. That's
Makes
the
sense.
thing. Yeah, right?
I'll be in your DMs afterwards looking for answers for the D1 race next week. Not that I'll survive.
I'll be there as well.
Not that I'll survive long enough for D1 to get to a pit stop, but we'll see. It's by 5 laps today, but
You're the cause. You're the cause of the safety car then.
Usually, yes. It was Packer last week. It was me in Imola. But there we go. Packer, do you have anything to ask of our third place driver today?
You covered everything really once again. I'm trying. I really am trying to find something to ask, but let's think.
It's okay. This is my least favourite part of commentating D3 when the car mentalists were saying, "Jake, do you have anything to add?" No, you've covered it.
No, nothing really to add.
well.
But once again, just congratulations, 4 podiums in 5 races and a P4 to add on to that. Very strong campaign so far.
Yeah, trying to be consistent.
Well, you certainly are that. You're the most consistent driver in D5 by a mile, and one of the most consistent in the whole league, in fact, on that basis. So that is where we will end it this week. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you, Packer, for finding the time to join me, because I was worried I was going to have to commentate that by myself. It was an interesting race, shall we say? That's the word. It was a bit boring at the end, but we got through it. We've had a mammoth 57 pit stops, Ocon contributing 10 of those by himself. So congratulations to him. Congratulations to Bowers. Congratulations to They Hate Multi. Congratulations to Energetics. It's been a pleasure. And as always, we will see you next week for round 6 at Silverstone. Same time. Catch us there. Thank you for tuning in. And bye-bye, everybody.